4 people, 4 nights, 4 things that shouldn't have been possible. A notification appears on a locked phone, sent by no app from no one. A mirror that was supposed to be empty isn't. And the longer you look at it, the slower your own reflection starts to move. Something in the woods learns the sound of your best friend's voice and uses it to call you deeper into the dark. And a roommate who locks his door every night at exactly 3 a.m., whispering to someone until the night his phone rings from inside that locked room. 4 stories, every one of them sent to me by someone who swears it really happened. Stick around till the end of this one, because by the time we're done, you're going to start checking the corners of your own room. Let's get into it. I'm Adrian Vale. Before we dive into tonight's stories, if something strange, terrifying, or completely unexplainable has ever happened to you, send it to me. I read every single email, and some of the stories you're about to hear came straight from someone just like you. Now, let's start with the first one.
Story 1. The website I shouldn't have opened. It was 1:47 in the morning when the notification hit my lock screen. No app icon, no sender, just 6 words. I know you're still awake. My hands were shaking before I even understood why I should be scared. 3 days earlier, none of this would have meant anything to me. 3 days earlier, I hadn't even heard of Room 17. It started on a forum, the kind of place people post things they probably shouldn't. Someone dropped a link with no caption, just a screenshot that read, Room 17, still open. I don't know why I clicked it. Boredom, maybe, or the kind of curiosity that doesn't ask permission. The page took almost 10 seconds to load, which felt wrong before I even saw what was on it. Black screen, white text, no header, no ads, not even a favicon, just a single line, download or leave. You don't get both. Below it, a countdown timer was already running, 04:59:58, 04:59:57. I told myself I'd download it just to see what it was, then delete it immediately. The file was named room17.exe. The second I opened it, my screen went black. No crash report, no error. My laptop fan spun up like it was suddenly doing the work of 10 programs at once. And then, just as fast, everything went back to normal. I restarted it, watched it boot up clean, and told myself it was nothing. I went to bed feeling stupid for being nervous. The real problem started the next night. At 1:43 a.m., my phone lit up with that first message. I know you're still awake. I checked everywhere for the source. No app name, no icon, nothing in my notification history that explained how it had even gotten there. The next night, another one. Why were you wearing red today? I had been wearing a red sweater that day. I hadn't been near a camera once. The little green light beside my webcam, the one that's supposed to mean recording, started flicking on for exactly 1 second at a time, then off, at no pattern I could predict. I put a strip of black tape over the lens. It didn't matter. The next morning, there was a new file sitting on my desktop, one I hadn't created. Why can't I see you anymore? .txt. I never opened it. I didn't have it in me. Eventually, I went back to the forum where I'd found the original link, hoping someone else had posted about Room 17, some explanation, some warning I'd missed. I found the thread again. Under the original post was a new comment, posted 2 days earlier from my own account. I never wrote it. It said, "Don't come back here. It's still waiting for you inside." The messages stopped after that. The webcam light stopped blinking. My laptop runs clean now. No strange files, no countdown timers. But every single night, at exactly 1:43 a.m., that little green light still flicks on for 1 second and 1 second only, like something is still checking, making sure I'm still here, making sure I haven't stopped watching back. Story 2. The Mirror in the Hallway. My grandmother, Eleanor, died in the spring, and 3 months later, my mother and I sat in her empty house, deciding what to keep and what to give away. Most of it went to charity. There was only one thing I couldn't let go of, an old mirror in a heavy wooden frame that had stood in her hallway for as long as I could remember. I used to stand in front of it as a kid while she braided my hair. I couldn't picture giving it to a stranger, so I brought it home. For the first few weeks, nothing happened, just a strange feeling every time I stood in front of it. My reflection seemed to lag, just slightly, like there was a half-second delay between moving my hand and seeing it move back. I told myself it was exhaustion, old eyes playing tricks on a tired mind. Then, one night, brushing my hair in front of it, I saw something behind my own reflection, a shape sitting in a chair, far back in the glass, in a part of the room that had no chair at all. I spun around. Nothing was there. I looked back at the mirror. The chair and whatever had been sitting in it was gone, too. It would have terrified me more if the shape hadn't moved the way she used to. That same tired, upright posture my grandmother held every evening, staring quietly out a window that wasn't even in the room. After that, it became almost routine. Some nights she'd be sitting in that chair. Other nights she'd be standing at the edge of the frame, like she was watching me from a doorway that didn't exist on this side of the glass. The fear slowly turned into something else, something closer to grief. I missed her terribly, and some nights it felt like this mirror was the only place left where I could still find her. One night I sat down in front of it and asked, out loud, "Grandma, are you in there?" Nothing answered, but the delay in my reflection stretched a little longer, like something on the other side was thinking about how to respond and couldn't quite manage it. My mother came into my room one afternoon, saw the mirror, and went pale. She told me it had belonged to her own grandmother first, passed down through 3 generations, and that there had always been a story attached to it, that whoever last looks into this mirror before they pass leaves something of themselves behind in the glass, as if to keep watching over whoever inherits it next. What my mother didn't mention, what I only found out by going through old letters in my grandmother's attic, was that every single owner of this mirror had written about the same thing before they died, a growing line of shapes standing further and further back in the reflection. Not just one, a queue. I went back to the mirror that same night. There were 2 shapes in the chairs now. My grandmother and someone else, someone I didn't recognize, standing just behind her, patient, waiting their turn. I still talk to it every night. I tell myself it's grief, that it's comfort, that it's harmless. But lately, when I lift my hand in front of the glass, the delay before my own reflection moves has gotten longer. Almost 2 full seconds now. I've started timing it. I don't know why that feels important to keep track of. I just know I can't stop doing it. Story 3. What was outside the tent? There were 5 of us. Me, Tyler, Madison, Jake, and Brian. The plan was simple. 3 hours out of the city, 2 nights camping in the forest. No signal, no service, just the kind of disconnect everyone keeps saying they need. We knew we'd be cut off going in. That was the whole point. The first night was perfect. Fire, music, the kind of laughing that comes easy when you're somewhere far enough from real life. Around midnight, we crawled into our tents, still half laughing, and fell asleep fast. I woke up to a sound I couldn't place at first. My first thought was an animal, a coyote maybe, something passing through. But the sound wasn't constant. It would stop completely, like it was waiting to hear whether we were awake, then start again, slow and deliberate, circling the outside of our tents. I texted Tyler, even though I knew there was no signal, just out of habit, then heard him whisper from the tent right next to mine. "I've been listening to it for 20 minutes, he said. Then Madison screamed, a short, choked-off sound from her tent. We all scrambled out with our flashlights. She told us something had run a finger slowly down the outside of her tent's fabric, testing it, like it was checking how strong the material was. We gathered around the fire, all 5 of us, flashlights pointed out into the trees. Brian wanted to leave right then, hike out in the dark, but none of us knew the trail well enough to risk it at night. We agreed to stay close to the fire until sunrise. That's when Jake said, "Where's Madison?" She'd been standing next to us less than 2 minutes earlier. I swept my flashlight across the ground near her tent and found a long drag mark in the dirt, cutting away from the campsite and disappearing into the tree line. We screamed her name. Nothing answered, and then the forest went quiet in a way that didn't feel natural. No insects, no wind through the branches, nothing but our own breathing, suddenly very loud in our own ears. Brian started following the drag mark before any of us could stop him. His flashlight beam bounced through the trees for a few seconds, then cut out completely. We never heard another sound from him. The 3 of us left, me, Tyler, and Jake, sat pressed together by the fire until the sky finally started to lighten. At some point in those last few hours, I heard something breathing from somewhere in the dark, perfectly in sync with my own breath, like it was matching me on purpose. And once, just once, it called out in Madison's voice, soft and close, asking why we hadn't come looking for her yet. Madison was nowhere near us. We ran for the car the second there was enough light to see the trail. Search teams spent 3 days in those woods. They never found Madison or Brian. The only thing they recovered was Brian's flashlight, set carefully against a tree deep in the forest, like someone had placed it there on purpose. I haven't been camping since, but some nights, sitting alone in my apartment, I'll hear something breathing in time with me, just on the edge of hearing. And once, just once, it called out in Madison's voice, soft and close, asking why we hadn't come looking for her yet. Madison was nowhere near us. Story 4. My roommate's 3 a.m. habit. When I moved to Seattle for a new job, I found a roommate through an apartment listing, a quiet guy named Caleb who didn't talk much but never gave me a reason to think twice about him. Not at first. It was the 3rd week when I noticed it. Every night, right around 3 a.m., a low murmuring would come through the wall from Caleb's room, like someone repeating the same words over and over, too quiet to make out. I figured he was on the phone or had the TV on low. One morning I asked him, half joking, who he was talking to so late. He went still for a second before answering. "No one," he said. "I talk in my sleep sometimes." It was a normal enough answer, but something in the way he said it, too fast, too careful, stuck with me. After that, I started paying closer attention. Every night at exactly 3 o'clock, Caleb would lock his bedroom door from the inside. At exactly 4 o'clock, it would unlock again. No light ever came from under the door during that hour, but the murmuring never stopped. One night, curiosity won. I pretended to fall asleep on the couch and waited. At 3 o'clock sharp, the murmuring started. I crept up to his door and finally heard the words clearly. He was saying, over and over, in a voice that didn't sound entirely like his own, "She still hasn't come back. She still hasn't come back. She said she'd come back today." It scared me less than it should have. Mostly I just felt sad for him, like he was grieving something he couldn't talk about out loud. I told myself I'd bring it up gently the next day, ask if he was okay. But the next morning, running into our old landlord at a coffee shop, I asked who'd lived in the apartment before us. She paused, like she was deciding whether to tell me, then said the last tenant had been a young man whose girlfriend died in an accident. After that, he started locking himself in his room every night, talking to her like she was still there. He moved out without any warning, didn't even take most of his things. I asked his name. She thought about it for a second. "Caleb," she said. "I think it was Caleb." I told myself that had to be a coincidence, a common name, nothing more. I went home and found his bedroom door standing open, the room empty. His clothes were still in the closet, his phone still on the nightstand. I called it just to hear if it would even ring. It rang from inside that locked room, the same room I had personally locked that morning before leaving for work, the key still in my own pocket. Caleb never came back. I still live in that apartment. Most nights are fine, but every so often I wake up at exactly 3 a.m. to find myself already standing at his old bedroom door, my hand resting against the wood, my mouth moving, and I don't remember walking there, and I don't remember what I was about to say.